Раздел. Раздел. 71.
Eastern Europe is on high alert. For the first time since the war in Ukraine escalated in 2022, Russian drones have crossed into Polish airspace. Poland's military shot them down, but the incident is far from isolated. NATO is stepping up its presence along the eastern flank, signaling that any aggression against member states will not be tolerated. The stakes? High, very high. Because this is more than drones. It is a test of alliances, a warning from Moscow, and potentially a pivotal moment in European security. On September 10th, Poland reported multiple drone incursions originating from Russian territory. Polish air defense quickly detected and intercepted the aircraft, marking the first time NATO territory has been directly threatened during the Ukraine war. Prime Minister Donald Tusk called the incidents deliberate provocations, dismissing claims from Moscow that it was an incident or technical error.
Nam się nie wydaje, że Rosja stoi za tą prowokacją, my to wiemy. Natomiast ja też rozumiem, że dla tych wszystkich, którzy chcieliby jakiejś normalizacji, stabilizacji, jakiejś polityki porozumienia z dzisiejszą Rosją, to ta sytuacja jest bardzo niewygodna, no bo jeśli dzieje się to, co się stało na polskim niebie w nocy 10 września, no to trudno udawać, że nic się nie stało. I mam nadzieję, że nikt z naszych sojuszników nie będzie udawał, że nic się nie stało, bo się stało.
He warned that any further incursions would be met with stronger defensive measures. But this isn't the first time Russian drones have tested NATO's resolve.
Such incidents happened before, but this time we know that that was the first time since the beginning of Russian full-scale invasion on Ukraine in 2022 that Polish territorial integrity has been purposely violated on such an unprecedented scale. We know, and I repeat, we know that it was not a mistake.
Over the past year, Poland has tracked dozens of near-border violations. Small unmanned aerial vehicles have crossed into restricted airspace multiple times, raising alarms in Warsaw and Berlin. While these early incidents were largely contained without escalation, they revealed a worrying pattern. Moscow testing the boundaries of NATO's commitments to its member states. NATO has responded decisively.
What happened on Wednesday was not an isolated incident. Russia's recklessness in the air along our eastern flank is increasing in frequency. We have seen drones violate our airspace in Romania, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. Whether intentional or not, it is dangerous and unacceptable.
The alliance has launched Operation Eastern Sentry, reinforcing its eastern flank with fighter jets from France, Germany, the UK, and Denmark.
Although the immediacy of our focus is on Poland, this situation transcends the borders of one nation. What affects one ally affects us all. This is an issue that impacts all of the alliance, and we will treat it as such. Eastern Sentry will be flexible and agile, delivering even more focused deterrence and defense exactly when and where needed. It will include additional enhanced capabilities. It will integrate air and ground-based defenses, and it will increase information sharing amongst nations. Foremost, it will even further strengthen our posture to shield and protect the alliance.
Denmark has also deployed a frigate to strengthen maritime security. NATO Secretary General Jens emphasized that any attack on a member state triggers collective defense measures under Article 4. He said, and I quote, "We will defend every inch of NATO territory," unquote, underscoring the alliance's commitment. The international reaction has been swift. United States reaffirmed its promise to defend NATO countries, calling Poland's security non-negotiable.
The United States stands by our NATO allies in the face of these alarming airspace violations. The United States is consulting with Poland and our other NATO allies under Article 4 of the North Atlantic Treaty. And rest assured, we will defend every inch of NATO territory. This incident does not help the extraordinary efforts that the United States has undertaken in recent weeks to broker an end to the war. Since the Alaska summit between President Trump and President Putin on August 15th, Russia has intensified its bombing campaign against Ukraine, resulting in loss of life and damage to civilian infrastructure. These actions, now with the addition of violating the airspace of a U.S. ally, intentionally or otherwise, show immense disrespect for good faith U.S. efforts to bring an end to this conflict. We urge Russia to renew and live up to its commitment to diplomacy by seeking an immediate end to hostilities through direct negotiations with Ukraine. Colleagues, the Russia-Ukraine war needs to end. We cannot risk it escalating into a broader conflict. Russia must demonstrate its seriousness by taking immediate, concrete steps toward peace.
Across Europe, 43 countries condemn Russia's actions, highlighting the violation of international law. Moscow, on the other hand, maintains that the drone strayed into Poland by accident, a claim met with widespread skepticism.
Теперь, что касается действий России. В ночь на 10 сентября российские вооруженные силы наносили высокоточным оружием большой дальности наземного, морского и воздушного базирования, а также беспилотниками удар по военно-промышленным объектам на территории Украины, где осуществлялось производство и ремонт бронетанковой и авиационной техники ВСУ, выпуск двигателей и электронных комплектующих к ним. Никаких целей на территории Польши не намечалось. Дальность полета, использованная в ходе удара беспилотных летательных аппаратов, не превышала 700 километров, что делает физически невозможным их попадание на польскую территорию. Несмотря на очевидную несостоятельность прозвучавших в наш адрес обвинений, в интересах всестороннего и объективного выяснения всех обстоятельств произошедшего, Министерство обороны Российской Федерации выразило готовность к профессиональному диалогу и консультациям с Министерством обороны Польши. МИД России, в свою очередь, также готов подключиться к этой работе, если польская сторона действительно заинтересована в снижении напряженности, а не в ее нагнетании.
Even US President Donald Trump weighed in, initially offering an ambiguous reaction to the suspected drone attack. His post on Truth Social questioned the motives behind Russia's violation of Polish airspace with drones. But in his first direct reaction to the incursion, he took a more measured stance, suggesting that the incident could have possibly been a mistake.
Could have been a mistake. Could have been a mistake. But regardless, I'm not happy about anything having to do with that whole situation. But hopefully it's going to come to an end.
NATO's engagement is critical. Poland borders Ukraine and serves as a strategic gateway for Western support to Kyiv. Any breach of Polish airspace would threaten not just Poland, but the stability of Europe's eastern frontier. Analysts note that repeated incursions risk drawing NATO into direct conflict, potentially escalating the war beyond Ukraine's borders. The implications are serious. Poland, already a frontline state for NATO, now faces direct threats from Russian forces. Enhanced air patrols and allied deployments aim to deter further violations. But the risk of miscalculation remains. A single misfired missile or drone could escalate tensions dramatically. For Warsaw, Berlin and Washington, it's a delicate balance, showing strength without provoking a wider conflict. Polish officials are making it clear they will not back down.
The drones that threatened Polish citizens and critical infrastructure were shot down preemptively. Drones are instruments of terror that have shattered homes and communities across Ukraine. 2 days ago, they tried to target Polish homes. This is one of them in a village called Wyryki in eastern Poland. A representative of the Russian Federation claimed that maybe these were not Russian drones. This is the evidence of that, including signs in Russian on the parts of the drone.
Prime Minister Tusk described the drone attacks as a test of NATO's credibility. He says, and I quote, "If we do not respond, the message will embolden Moscow," unquote. Poland's military has stepped up surveillance along its eastern borders and is coordinating closely with NATO allies to ensure rapid response capabilities. Russia, meanwhile, continues its campaign in Ukraine while probing NATO's defenses. Experts suggest these drone incursions serve multiple purposes: testing Poland's air defenses, sending a warning to the West, and demonstrating that NATO's eastern flank is vulnerable. While Russia denies intentional aggression, the incidents reinforce fears that the war could spill beyond Ukraine if deterrence fails. The stakes in Eastern Europe have never been higher. Poland is now on the front line. NATO is beefing up its defenses, and Russia is testing the limits of alliance solidarity. Every drone intercepted, every fighter jet deployed sends a signal. NATO will defend its members. But the question remains, how far will Moscow push before miscalculations spark a broader conflict? One thing is clear, the eyes of the world are on Poland, and the next move could change the security landscape of Europe forever. With Debangana Datta, Bureau Report, India Today Global.